Yes. Big up, people. Welcome back to the channel. 12th Man is back. We've got another preview show, and I thought we'd do make it into a bit more of a one-on-one with my boy Tobes. Tobes, it's been too long, man. Great to have you back on the channel, man. How are you, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on, bro. Yeah, it's good to be back. It's good to be back one on one. We ain't done this in a while, so yeah,
Too long, bro. Too long.
Let's
And a
talk.
lot's
Let's
happened,
just
mate. A lot's happened since we've last spoken. A lot's happened with both of
boy,
our clubs, man.
boy.
You're smiling. You're smiling. I mean, like, you're smiling, but remember where you are in the league, bro. That's all I'm
No,
saying.
I'm not.
Um,
Listen, I'm not smiling at just your collective pain. I'm smiling because I'm like, listen, we're both in the mud, isn't it? Like, that's it.
Big time, big time. Would you rather be in our mud or your mud though? That's what I'm asking. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I
what
would
mud
rather
would
be
you
in
want to
your
be in?
mud. I'd rather be in your mud, but I'd rather be in no mud at all, to be honest.
That's true. I'm the same as you, bro. I'm the same as you. Let's talk about the muddy Arsenal at the moment because I'd love to get your thoughts on what's happening. I've been very vocal. I've been very, or I had concerns or issues at least with if this
Yeah,
process was going to come to fruition, if it was
yeah,
going to come to majors, if it was going to come to silverware. And I look similarly to things as I suppose Turkish does, to be fair. Whereas I'm looking at the ownership, I'm looking at the board, and I'm looking at the manager. And I'm just thinking, yeah, I see faults in all three departments, if I'm honest with you.
mm,
But I want to just concentrate on the manager for a second because a
yeah,
lot of people will say it's not the owners. They've allowed him to spend £800 million, or I think it's around about 690 if you want to be really central about it. I think also what you've got to look at is the time he's had, the 5 year period that he's had, and the squad that he's allowed to build.
yeah,
Um, I don't look at the style of play this season and understand it, Tobes. I've got to be real with you. I'm all for George Graham, Antonio Conte, Simeone, Jose Mourinho style. If you win games, when you don't win, you turn into David Moyes and Sam Allardyce. And at times, it's
mm,
felt like that, brother. I can't even lie to you. It's been
yeah.
so bad, unentertaining. And I keep making the joke that I need a good book to go to the Emirates and read at the moment because it has been pretty dire, bruv. It really has. So that's from an emotional, raw, passionate point of view. But as a
Yeah.
Spurs fan, as a football fan, taking your Spurs cap off, even looking at Arsenal right now, what do you see going wrong, bro?
It's I think it's a mix of things really, and I liken it to a little spell that you lot had last year, albeit with probably worse football. I think you lot picked up quite a lot of points last season as well, but it's fair to say that you missed a step in terms of some of your like offensive, like fluid play in the first half of last year. But then I really thought from probably I would say like end of November of last season onwards, like you don't really flick the switch. He made some tweaks. Odegaard was dropping deeper um, to basically get involved more in play, and he tried to push Declan Rice forward. He tried Jorginho in the six. He tried a couple of things to sort of make you lot a bit more fluid. Being able to sort of progress the ball from back to front very quickly, and you lot started playing really good football. Um, Obviously, the results weren't as consistent as they were in the entirety of 2024 in the second half of the season. But the point remains that like a flick was switched basically, and I feel like you lot are at a similar crossroads, but the circumstances are much worse, right? I think the football has not been good, if I'm being honest, this season. Your numbers in open play are significantly down in terms of chance creation. Um, and I just feel like at the heart of it, you still don't have enough quality up top. The same things that hurt you last season are the same things that hurt you the season before, are the same things that hurt you the season before. Like, don't get me wrong, Arsenal being able to challenge for a league title 3 seasons in a trot is commendable. But in the end of the day, you need to win. And for me, I feel like when I looked in the summer transfer window, granted, you brought players in that in theory should have taken you forward, but it feels like you've taken a step backwards. Your attack just doesn't look the same. And why would it? Martinelli, you didn't do anything in your left wing position. You saw what happened last season. You didn't do anything in your left wing position. You saw what happened last season in the striker. You got sold on this Kai Havertz and thinking that he's going to be this 25 to 30 goal striker. He's never been that in his career, and he never will be that, in my opinion. Um, and you rested on your laurels. Let's be honest. Like you didn't bring in the right level of attacking quality. You didn't bring in someone to actually come in and take the mantle of Bukayo Saka when he's not available. You didn't even bring in cover for Odegaard, like, or even competition for Odegaard. Like, when you look at Arsenal's attack, right, it's literally Bukayo Saka and Martin Odegaard and Inshallah. It really is. And it really is. You got Trossard, who doesn't do anything in open play, but may pop up with a goal here or there. But we know those type of plays, they have a short shelf life when you really need sustained consistency. You've got Kai Havertz, who's not good enough. You've got Gabriel Jesus, who's not good enough, injury prone, right? You got Martinelli, who's been so poor in the last, I would say, 18 to 24 months. So it's getting to a point now where it's like, what is it actually going to take for Arsenal to build an attacking blend of players that actually befits a team that are actually chasing a title? Like, I don't understand it. And then, of course, the injuries don't help. Bukayo Saka's been injured and whatnot. But I think Arteta's got it wrong, man. I also think he's got it wrong. Let's be serious. The fullbacks, they constantly inverting. You rarely see your fullbacks overlap. You see Marino playing as this left 8, but does nothing on the ball. You see Declan Rice being used as a left 8, but he's a destroyer. You don't want Declan Rice in those half spaces, receiving the ball, trying to make things happen. It's never going to work. We're seeing centre mids play at right back because he wants to invert. No, just play traditional fullbacks. Give your wingers help, because they need help. Martinelli clearly can't do it by himself there. He's not good enough to do it by himself, so he needs help. So for me, I don't know, man. I just feel like Arteta is basically he's tried to be too clever. He's tried to be too clever, and he's way too risk averse now. He got burnt by the fact that you lot missed out on the title to Man City that time, where you lot were just shipping goals left, right, center, and he went through a process to try and make you guys stronger to beat, and he did that last year. You were wholeheartedly stronger, and like, teams struggle to beat you. But I feel like this summer he's gone even more left, and you've just completely thrown off the equilibrium of your team. Like, you had the perfect, for me, last year, the end of it, you had the perfect balance. All you needed was to keep things the same and go and actually add some stardust to your attack, because the defense was fine, right? I know your fans will say, oh yeah, we love Calafiori and whatnot, but did you really need Calafiori? What impact has he made to your season thus far? Like, he's had good cameos, but what impact outside of Man City has he made to your season thus far? Like,
no, bro.
Timber's come in. Timber obviously wasn't around last year. He came in this year. He's been fantastic for you. You've got Timber. You've got White is injured. Tomiyasu's injured, right? Calafiori's injured, and you're still able to field a strong back four. So we know that the defensive depth is there, but what about the attacking depth? And I'm not just talking about numbers. I'm talking about quality, strength in depth, not just depth. I hate squads that are just assembled just for numbers, just for body count. No, you need strength in depth. You do. Now, I'm saying this to say that there's still that the door's not completely closed. If I'm Arsenal, the door's not completely closed. You have destiny in your own hands. Well, it's not in your own hands. It's Liverpool's hands. It's going to take a catastrophe. But what you could do as a club is you could go into that window and go and bolster this team. Bolster this team with quality to at least give yourself a fighting chance. Because I'll tell you this for free. No Bukayo Saka back until April. Yeah. There's no way on earth you're winning the league. Sorry. If you don't sign anyone and it stays as is, you're not winning that title. You're just not. You're not.
Facts.
And you're now out of the FA Cup. Pathetic. Out of the, basically, let's be honest, you're 80% likely to go out of the League Cup at this point. So it's Champions League or Premier League. It's Champions League or Premier League, and you're not winning the Champions League, if I'm being honest. And you're not going to win the Premier League with the current squad that you have at your disposal.
Bro, I normally come in and try and interject and try and defend the stuff you're saying as an Arsenal fan, but you're totally on the money, man, and spot on. I don't think there's anything I disagreed with in what you're saying, bro. And look, I've been quite vocal about the fact that I think this team right now, he is ruining some of them players. And I don't just mean ruining them in terms of their fitness like Bukayo Saka and Saliba. I actually mean performance level wise and the lack of development. I haven't seen Martinelli develop under Mikel Arteta, and he was a top talent when he came through at 17, 18. I haven't really seen much of a drop off other than this season from Trossard, but this season it's like falling off a cliff. I look at what he's doing with Sterling. I don't get that signing whatsoever. It makes no sense to me. Even when Saka has been out, he hasn't been playing. Then I look at what he's done with Ethan Waneri. It's kind of learnt too late that he was ready and that potentially that was an internal solution that he keeps using them two words for Odegaard. He's used Trossard that wasn't working, stinking out the joint, and then he's thrown Ethan in, who's now injured again, right? Jesus is injured again, out for the season. Kai Havertz, you know my thoughts. I'm with you. I never got it. Don't understand him at Chelsea. Don't understand him at Arsenal. As much as I thought at the back end of the season he actually contributed, and you could say fair play, he was scoring goals. He was never the guy to go, right, well, we found our number 9 then. What else do we need? He was a guy that was part of your squad. And for to be paying that much money for him, it
Well,
is an
squad players, right?
embarrassing amount. Like, let's just be real. You pay 265 for Jesus and 280 for Kai Havertz, and neither of them are good enough to start. There's a huge problem there with your recruitment, in my opinion. Declan Rice, I don't know what he's trying to do with him. He's never been a Fabregas. He's never been a Gerrard. He's never been a Lampard. So why are we trying to turn him into one? This guy is a really good number 6. In fact, he's unbelievably good in the number 6. And last season, he was player of the season in that position. Why are we moving him forward? Why are we trying to make him the athletic one that drives the ball forward? He can do it in glimpses, yeah, but you can do that from a 6 level as well, like Rodri does. I'm not comparing the two, by the way, but I look at the two positions and I just think, why the hell is Declan Rice playing in the Erdegaard position against Brighton
It's mad.
and in the attacking
Mad.
8?
You had a 17-year-old in Waneri who clearly looks like he's ready to play at this level. Okay, you can't rinse him to death, but if a player's good enough, the player's good enough, right? Give him an opening, especially when you're chasing games. I remember that some of the performances that you lot have put in this season, and the thing is, your fans try and hide behind this bollocks of, oh, the refs against us. Oh, if we had it 11v11. Okay, so look at these games. Against Bournemouth, that lineup you put out was shocking, right? And before that red card, you were crap. You didn't create anything before the red card. You were just coasting by. Atalanta, terrible performance away from home. Newcastle, terrible performance away from home. Like, even against us, I didn't even think you were good. I just thought you were just defensively strong. You were just defensively strong. And
We haven't
there's
been
more
really good
games.
all season, Tobes. Let's just be real about
Yeah,
it. We haven't been amazing all season. You know what I'm
there's more.
saying?
There's
So,
more games. There's more games as well. Man
well, look
United.
at Brighton.
Well,
The
Brighton
Brighton
was
game, home and away,
really
like not good enough.
awful. At least the home game, at least you created chances. Like that one, at least, even with 10 men, at least you created chances. Don't lose the game. Don't even drop points. Fine. Criticize the team for not seeing out the win, even with 10 men, because let's be honest, as good as Brighton are, you're Arsenal, you're at home, you've got rock solid defense that you should be able to see the result through. Man United came to your ground and saw a result through with 10 men, and they have nowhere near as good a squad as Arsenal, right? But you just look at some of the performances. That Man United game, Man United stifled Arsenal, bro. In the
Yep.
2-0 defeat. Obviously, they lost the game, but I'm talking about the performances. So we're not just talking about personnel. We're talking about managerial mishaps this season, right? And it's why Arsenal fans are so. There's a lot of pressure on Arteta. There should be. He's getting paid a lot of money. Right? He's got, I would say, the majority of his first choice targets, right? The club didn't put a gun to his head to make him sign Marino. They didn't put a gun to his head to make him sign Calafiori. They didn't put a gun to his head to make him sign Sterling, right? It's up to him to deliver, but it's also up to some of your players to deliver because both things are misaligned. They're completely misaligned. I think too many players outside of your centre backs, too many players are not playing to the level that they're capable of, right? I think Declan Rice's performances, they've improved, I would say, in the last 6-7 weeks, but I think this season he's not been good. I think Odegaard, he's been so poor this season. Bar maybe 2 or 3 games, he's been so poor this season. And you know me, I've got a little bit of a cheeky agenda with Odegaard, but I'm not an idiot, right? He's a quality player, he's a baller. And I've said this repeatedly. He's a baller. He's one of the best midfielders in the league, and he's not played like it,
No, I agree.
right? Bukayo Saka, Arsenal fans have been asking themselves, what happens when Bukayo Saka gets injured? We need this, we need that, we need this, we need that. Well, now you've seen it happen, finally. Not that I'm wishing injury on a player, but now you've actually seen what a Bukayo Saka-less Arsenal looks like, and it looks blunt. It looks really, really blunt. You're already struggling with Saka. You're already putting too much on Saka. Saka has to be the one to beat three players, to create chances, and to score. Like, he's having to do a lot. And now you see the impact with no Bukayo Saka in the team. It's up to your manager and it's up to your club to solve it. Right, the manager needs to manage the crop of players he has better, and he needs to put pressure on your board to bring in attacking talent, because it's not happening with
Well, let
Trossard.
me
It's
go.
not
Let me go
happening.
into that, because there's a lot of Arsenal fans that are frustrated at the moment with the manager. There's also a certain section of the fan base that don't blame him, and they blame more towards the board and the ownership. Whatever kind of side of the fence you're on is cool by me. You have your opinions of the football club, right? Um, I don't know if you saw any of the fan cams from the outside the game on AFTV or on other platforms after the game, but obviously myself and Turkish kind of went in more on the ownership as well as the manager, to be fair. And Robbie told me that I was overreacting and all this
I
and all
watched your
that kind
video.
of stuff.
You weren't overreacting. I do think Turkish is very hypocritical though, because he loves
Well,
defending Daniel Levy. Yeah, he loves defending Daniel Levy, and I think it's very hypocritical. Arteta's, as much as you want to cuss your board, and I think your board definitely deserve criticism with some of the behaviors we've seen in your transfer activity last year in January, this summer, right? Ultimately, Arteta is accountable for a lot of this, right? He's accountable for a lot of this. My understanding is he's got a lot of sway when it comes to the ownership. Yeah. So that's where I'm struggling to understand what the demarcation point is between what's Arteta's fault versus what was Edu's fault versus what was Josh Conke's fault. I'm struggling, and maybe you tell me, because you're an Arsenal fan, you're closer to it.
well, look, I believe in the 20 years that the Cronkies have been part of this club, I think it's been a very unsuccessful period. We haven't won a Premier League, a League Cup, or a European trophy in that time. We have a handful of FA Cups, which I think clubs like, without being too fun, like yourself and maybe some of the other clubs would be like, oh, we've won 5 trophies in that period of time. That's unbelievable. But for me, it's not unbelievable, bro. I've grew up winning majors. I was spoiled as a kid, right? So I look at why we haven't done that. I think the ownership has put or allowed a lot of money to be spent. How much does the ownership actually put into this club? Well, it's been 200 million of their own money in 20 years, which is 10 million pounds a year on mean average. That is nowhere near enough to go and dominate English football. Now, when you look at what they've done to their American sports, people say, look at what they're doing over there. Look at the great things they're doing over there. Is it really that great, though? Because they're kind of one and done ownerships. They've gone and won with the Rams, then they're done. They've gone and won with the Nuggets, then they're done. The Colorado Rapids, the list goes on. They're more interested in just making money from it. And some of the inside knowledge I've got is they're quite happy as long as we're competing and challenging, getting the stadium full and challenging in the Champions League money. They're quite
Mhm.
calm. It's all good. It's not like, don't worry, we'll get there one day. It's all about process. It's all about PR. It's all about, you know, getting the manager in to fall in love, but get the fans falling back in love with the club, buying a dog, calling it win, all this crud that I see and all this PR
Nonsense.
spin. For me, I don't give a damn about dogs, Tobes. I'm a big fan of dogs, but I look at it and I don't care about that. I want to win trophies. And I want
Mm.
the ownership to believe they can. Now, as much as people hated Roman Abramovich and Sheikh Mansour, they're two owners that actually have ambition to win.
Yeah.
And I think that when you look at what they've done, Chelsea and City, in the last 2 decades, that Arsenal have been starved of trophies, then in my opinion, you need to look at that and say, yeah, that's how to dominate English football. And lastly, on the manager, if I'm honest with you, I'm not going to sit here and not praise him for the fact that he's got us challenging again, because there's a lot of things that he's done that are good.
Yeah. He deserves
If
credit.
he was to
Yeah.
leave at the end of the season, and real talk, I don't think he will, but if he was to leave at the end of the season, and I was asked the question, who did a better job, Poch at Spurs or Arsenal with Arteta? I honestly probably would pick Poch at Spurs. Real talk. Because he didn't spend £800 million. He didn't have everything his way for 5 years. He didn't have a back of an ownership that said, you get what you want, mate. And he got that team that I think was probably disrespected, by the way, to a Champions League final and in a title race. That is, without being horrible to Spurs fans, that is unheard of, mate. It's not unheard of to get Arsenal challenging for a Premier League title and winning an
Mm.
FA Cup. Yeah. So when people laugh at Tottenham are bottle jobs and all this kind of stuff, we're kind of doing our best impression of Tottenham right now because we
Facts.
keep messing up
Facts.
trophies. We keep bottling titles. We keep going to the finals and semi-finals and stuff and not getting across the line. So when I look at this situation, we don't even get to finals under Mikel Arteta. So when I look at the situation, you can't laugh too hard at Tottenham. I mean, we can still laugh, but we can't laugh too hard if we're trying to do a best impression of them, right? So
Mm.
I look at things right now, and I just think that the situation might not be doom and gloom because we're second in the league, we're third in the Champions League, we've still got those two competitions. It's not season over. But unless we do something in January, I'm with you. We're basically saying we ain't interested in getting across the
Done.
line. And
Yeah.
if we go and get Rashford on loan or Evan Ferguson on loan or one of these guys, I'm tapping out, man. I'm simply done. Because for me, I don't want signings like that. It's got to be like a Victor Gyökeres, a Victor Osimhen, a Nico Williams, a Lookman, even Premier League players like Brian Mbeumo or Cunha. I'd take those guys because right now our attack is depleted, bro. It's just been reported by David Ornstein that Gabriel Jesus is out for the season. Ethan Nwaneri is about 6 weeks away. Saka's out till March, April. We've
Yeah.
got no cover there whatsoever. We've got 4 attackers going into the most important part of the season. So that's where I'm at with Arsenal, bro. I don't know if you agree or disagree with any of that.
I agree with most, if not all of it, to be honest. I was saying this to Turkish yesterday on the Big Six, and my thing is Arsenal have put themselves in a position where they have to spend big consistently to be the best. Like history, current current trend states that the teams who typically spend the most, of course, spending reasonably well, they tend to end up winning the trophies, right? And for me, Arsenal and their ownership, they were trending in an upward curve, and they gave Arsenal fans a glimpse of what like ambition and going all out for the manager looks like last season, right? You missed out by, what was it, 2 points last year? So they won it. They won it on 91. You missed out by 2 points. In my mind, as a fan, I'm fully expecting the ownership to say, you know what, you missed that by 2 points. Right. Okay. You wanted Calafiori, you wanted Marino. It's not working. But we still need you to win. We believe you are the guy to make us win. Now, these aren't my words. I'm just looking at it hypothetically. How does it serve Arsenal to be on this lay thing in January? It doesn't. Like, if Liverpool come in with Onslaught, who had only one signing in the summer, and they win this title over you in a period where you're meant to be competing with Manchester City, it's an indictment on you, not just Arteta. It's an
We were
indictment.
told that we couldn't win it because of Pep. So if Slot wins it, when Pep drops, that ain't good. If
Yeah,
Maresca wins a trophy, which he will do because they'll win that Conference League, and Slot wins a trophy ahead of Mikel Arteta, my goodness. And I'm talking about Mikel Arteta's new squad, by the way, because people all come back and say that he's already won an FA Cup. But that wasn't with this team. That was
mm,
with a team that we depleted since because we were told it wasn't good enough. So how can you rebuild a team from winning something and still not replace some of the players from that team, by the way? Because we haven't replaced Xhaka. We haven't replaced Aubameyang. We probably still haven't really replaced Kieran Tierney. I know you're not a huge fan, but I actually quite like what he brings to the team. And I still don't think we've got a better goalkeeper than Emi Martinez, as much as I don't think Ray is the problem, right? So I'm looking at this situation thinking, wow, we've had 5 years since then, and we've still not replaced 3 out of the 4 of those players that I've just mentioned. So, look, it is a mess at Arsenal, bro, but we've got to move to Tottenham. Because it's not much better over there from what I can work out. Sitting in the league that you are after the money that you've spent is absolutely mad, in my opinion. And I appreciate that Ange is wanted by some of the fan base, but I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know how he is. I really don't. And I'll tell you why. If you do lose to us, right, on Wednesday evening, you'll be joint with Palace in 15th. That is a disgrace, bro. That is a disgrace, in my opinion. And I don't care for Tottenham one bit. But if I look at where Tottenham should be and what they should be as a club and where they should be in the league, they should be with everyone that's doing what they're doing this season. They should be right up there, in my opinion, because they should be looking at what everyone else is doing, thinking, wow, Man United aren't on it. Chelsea only just coming back into it, but they're not consistent. Aston Villa, Champions League's affecting them. Newcastle, not quite sure what you're going to get with them. You've obviously got Liverpool, Arsenal, and City at the moment, two of which have dropped off, and Spurs are nowhere to be seen. So I look at what Ange Postecoglou was doing. I like the style of play when it's great, but you need to change it up when it's not. Because what will happen, in my opinion, is you will win some games and you will lose some games. And right now, you're floating around, if the season was to continue like this, in around about 10th, 11th, or 12th. That ain't good enough because it's 50% win rate at the moment, pretty much. You win
Yeah.
50%, you lose 50%. I don't know why he's so stubborn. I don't know why he won't change, but it doesn't look like this guy's going to. Now, I say this to you, Tobes, moving on to Wednesday. I believe if you do not follow the blueprint of how to pick up points against Arsenal, then it is a sackable offence for Ange Postecoglou. If he goes there and he doesn't win, if he goes there and he wins, cool. But if he goes there, plays the way that we think he is, and he loses that game, it's like, why did you go there and play like this? Because when teams play like this, it's the only way that Arsenal got at the moment of winning games, when you open up and give them space. Because right now, stifle them, and it's difficult. Everton proved that. Fulham proved that. United proved that. Brighton have proved that. There's been a lot of teams that have come there and played that kind of style of football that have taken something from the game. Now, if I offered you a point now, you'd probably say, yeah, you want all three, but you want to get out there with something, right? And if
Yeah.
you play the way that you do and you don't win the game, I don't know how Ange Postecoglou can continue to play like this, man. So that's where I'm at. Where you at with this Ange stuff, man?
My thing is with Ange, I'm disillusioned, man. I'll be real. I'm disillusioned, and
Yeah,
you know how much I was batting for him last season. I gave him allowances in the second half last year, even though the warning signs were there. I was critical of the performances second half last year, questioning why do we only have two guys defending in transitions? Why do we always have to invert our fullbacks? Why do we have to leave ourselves so exposed? But I said, you know what? It's your first season. You're still trying to instill your philosophy. You've not had the greatest of transfer windows, and you've had a lot of injuries, etc., etc. Right? Even though the form in the second half of last year was literally pants, like it was mid-table form. Cool. This season, same thing. We go again, giving him time, but you're seeing the concerns, right? Rear its ugly head, and that thing you mentioned about the loss rate. So a lot of people focus on the fact that, oh, we lost so and so games in December, this, that, and the third. But we were tracking at a 40 to 45% loss rate, even before the injuries. Even before the injuries came, I think we had lost like 5 of 11 games. By the time we had lost to Ipswich, we lost 5 of our 11 Premier League games. Like, before we even entered the December period, like, we were tracking at our worst ever start to the season since Juan de Ramos. And that was 2008, where Harry Redknapp picked us up from like 15th or something like that. Okay, we were never going to get relegated, but we were performing terribly. So for me, it's like, there's only so many times I can say, oh, he's unlucky. Oh, he didn't get this, he didn't get that. Now, there are allowances. Of course, there are allowances, right? The biggest allowance for me, right, is the recruitment. I thought the recruitment was not good enough in the summer. And I said this in the summer, so this isn't even a revisionist thing. I said in the summer, we're shortchanging ourselves again. We're shortchanging the manager yet again. We have really, really incompetent owners that just do crazy things and expect a manager to just make miracles. Like, we signed talented young players, but they're young players. We signed one starter to go into the team. We had a hole in our left side of the fence. We didn't do anything about it. We didn't do anything about our midfield in terms of bringing in experience. We didn't do anything about the right wing. We knew Richarlison was injury prone. And what's our answer to covering the attack? We bring in Timo Werner again. Like, what serious club makes these moves? So I almost feel a bit sorry for him in that respect, because I don't think he was given a good enough window to deal with 4 competitions that we're competing in this season. Fully agree. But my biggest gripe with Ange Postecoglou is the guy just, it's like he makes a situation that isn't ideal much worse. And when a manager starts to do that, you lose me, bro. right? And this whole narrative that he doesn't change, I don't even think it's true. And I've said this even last season. I look at games last year. I look at I look at game the I look at the game against Man City last year when we lost the game 2-0. Everyone so desperate to say, "Oh, we threw away that game." No, we didn't. We played well against Man City. We set up with a proper game plan against Man City. We didn't push our line aggressively forward, right? We let them come onto us. We played in transition as we tend to do when we're trying to catch teams out. Like there was a change. He didn't go with the stereotypical midfield that he normally went with. He used Madison off the left. Like he put Mickey van der Ven left back. Like he made changes. The
Is
same
that
with
more
Man
worrying
City.
then, Tobes? Because if you're saying that he actually has tried to change things up and he's still failing with it, is that more worrying then?
It's more worrying, Potts, because he's a manager who he's haphazard in his changes. I can't have that. Sorry, I can't get behind that, because when you can see that there's a logical thing to be done here, and you prioritize your own vain view of football over what is best for Tottenham Hotspur, you lose me as a fan. You 100% lose me as a fan, right? You look at the games where it's worked, where he's actually changed his game plan. Like he tweaked his game plan against Man City when we won 4-0, sorry. And it came off well. It was great. It was great. Even the weeks gone recently, yeah, and the league performances, like I can't even be too critical on Ange, too tough in those results, because you've actually done what I think is logical. He didn't have the fullbacks bombing forward. He didn't have the fullbacks inverted. He had them staying back to defend to defend transitions. Like we went longer more often. We played more into Solanke from the goalkeeper, bypassing the midfield. Like there are things that he's done in the last couple of games against Wolves, against Newcastle, against Liverpool in the League Cup, where I can actually see a discernible shift to try and do something different. So it's not that you can't change things, it's that you don't change things consistently enough. Like if you can do all these things, why do you just sit there with your arms crossed when you can see the game going away from you against Brighton? Why do you do crazy things like playing a lineup against Palace that should have played against Ipswich, and playing a lineup against Ipswich that should have played against Palace? Like, why have you ran Pedro Porro into the ground when Jed Spencer's been there all season? Pedro Porro's been playing poorly all season. Jed Spencer's been there all season, and we're only seeing him now. And when we're seeing him, we're having to see him at left back, and he's still putting in strong performances. So for me, it's like the bridge is burnt. I've given you so much rope. I've given you so much rope this season to try. And you've just hung yourself in my eyes. Like you've literally hung yourself, because you're a manager to me who can't change a game in Tottenham's favor, right? You're a manager to me who puts yourself above the team every single time, right? It's for me, it's just, yeah, like I don't know, man.
I'm with you. I don't think anything you said is madness. I don't think it's out of order. I think you've been fair. I also think that you're actually quite calm for some of the Spurs fans that I've spoken to that are like, "Nah, get this guy out. I'm done." You know, I know Sava and a few of the others are completely done with him. It's like, I need him gone. There's a couple of others that are saying, like George and Jacob and some of the others are like, "Nah, let's give this guy time." Look, I understand why. I understand both in a way, because I know that Tottenham just keep sacking managers and need to keep one at some stage. But you also, at the same time, you can't reward failure. You just can't. And I think he has failed, if I'm honest with you. So
100%,
that's where I'm at,
100%.
bro. That's where I'm
This
at.
is it. This is it. Like the squad that was assembled, it wasn't assembled to conclusively finish fourth, but it damn sure wasn't assembled to finish 12th or wherever we are. Like
Thanks,
we're
bro.
better than that. We're actually better than that. Like the results have been atrocious. They've been absolutely atrocious. Our record in London, outside of West Ham, the occasional West Ham games, poor. We've not beat. I think we've only got 1 win in 3 against Fulham. We've got 0 wins against you guys. We've got 1 win in 3 against West Ham. Like we've got so Crystal Palace. We've got to be fair, we've got 2 wins out of 3 against Crystal Palace.
Lost to them this year, though, right?
We lost to them, but we beat them twice last year. Like I don't know, I really wanted it to work, and it's like if he's able to turn it around, great. But I've seen this type of manager before in the past, and I can't get with it. I can't get with managers who are so stubborn and put themselves above the team. Honestly, like he's a nice guy. He really is. He's a nice guy, and he's got the personality that I would love in a manager. But fundamentally, he does not manage this team well enough week to week.
No.
He doesn't. He does
No,
not
that's
do it
just
well
fair.
enough.
I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's unfair to say that. He has managed you really badly in in-game management, in substitutions. I don't know what his obsession with Madison is. It sounds weird. I like Madison. I've got time for him. I know a lot of the Arsenal fans
That's
don't
another
like
one
him.
as well.
I like him.
That's
Go
another
on, bro.
one as well. And listen, Madison's not played amazingly well this season, but he's had several good games. Like and Madison is not the worst performing player in our team. Yet he's the one that's always
Yeah.
subbed.
It seems
Like
that way, bro. It seems he's got something
it's not
like against him. Like listen, I think Kulusevski's been outstanding for you this season. I think he's been your
been
best
good.
player, right, by
He's
quite
been
some
good.
distance. But I look at him and I think, right, that's cool. Doesn't mean that you can do this with Madison.
You need
I
both.
don't like
You need
it.
both in the team. You need both
100%
in the
play
team,
both
bro.
of them. I don't know why he's not playing both of them. It seems very odd to me. But look, we got to
Mm.
get to this game. This game, I think, is going to be a stinky game, bro. I can't even lie. I've not been enjoying watching Arsenal, and I think it could be an absolute stinkfest. It could go one way or the other. Give me your team news because I don't know what your team's going to be. I'd love to know what 11 you think it's going to be, and I'll try and go with what 11 I think it will be, and then we'll get some score predictions before we wrap up. What's
It's
the team
probably
going to
gonna
be, bro?
Yeah, it's probably going to be the same team that's had to play in some of our other games because we were running on empty. You think you've had it bad with injuries? We've had it bad with injuries, like literally all season. We're running on empty. We still don't have our first choice centre backs. We don't even have our second choice left centre back available in Ben Davies. So for me, the teams will be Kinski, so new goalkeeper. He looks good.
It does.
He'll start. He'll start. The club did well to sign him quickly, but yet we're still waiting on the other signings against our biggest rivals, and yet we still only have one signing through the door. But that's Daniel
One more
Levy.
than us, bro. One more than
That's
us.
Daniel Levy and Tottenham for you. Pedro Porro was terrible against Tamworth. He probably shouldn't play, but he's going to have to play because we have no one else. So Pedro Porro will start at right back. Dragusin will play at centre back. Archie Gray will play at centre back. Jed Spence will play at left back. Midfield will be Basuma again. Basuma will start. I think he'll go with Sarr for this game. I don't think he'll start Bergville. I think he'll go with Sarr for this game. And I think where it gets interesting for me is the attack, right? I think Madison has to start this game, but I can see Ange Postecoglou doing the dumb thing, which is playing Kulusevski in the middle and playing Brennan Johnson. Right. I don't think that should be the case. If it was down to me, Madison, Bissouma, Sarr in the midfield, Kulusevski off the right, but he's not really playing as a right winger. I'd have him tucking in, like he did against Man City, right? And you let Pedro Porro give you the width on the right, and then you start Son on the left, you start Solanke. Son is definitely going to start. Solanke is definitely going to start. So it's really between what he does with Madison, right? And it's mad that we played this game against our fiercest rivals, and our best midfielder isn't even a dead set for this match. But that's just where we are with Ange Postecoglou, and some fans will condone it because they believe that Madison isn't good enough for the club, and they're entitled to their own opinion. But I wholeheartedly disagree, and I think it's an absolute shambles that Brennan Johnson is in contention to start this game. Sorry, I don't care how many goals he scores. I don't care. He's not good enough for Tottenham. He's not good enough for Tottenham, and we need players who are actually going to get on the ball, right? Get on the ball when we have our moments and play the right passes, be in the game, do good things with the football at their feet, right? You're right. What you said about Ange Postecoglou is true. We need to come to this game with a good game plan. Like, and a good game plan doesn't just mean you park the bus. And this is what I don't understand with some Spurs fans sometimes. They feel like when you say, oh, he needs to tweak, he needs to do this, they basically feel like, oh, you want Antonio Conte football. I want a good version of Antonio Conte football, yes. Because when it was good, we were able to shut teams out and we could punch teams up on the counter attack. But we don't even need to do that, Potts. All we're asking is, can you not leave our midfield vacant and gaping? Can you not leave our defenders exposed? Right? Can we be compact when we don't have the ball? Like, you don't have to put 10 men behind the ball for 90 minutes. Like, there's a give and take. Like, I think we should go and press higher. You never know. You can try and catch Arsenal. Try and catch Arsenal whilst they're building out, and you never know. Like, it paid dividends against Man United, it paid dividends against Man City. We almost caught you guys out with the high press in the home game as well. I remember in the first half. So by no means am I saying go and park the bus there for 90 minutes, but be responsible. Know when to sit, know when to press, right? Know when to just keep the game ticking. You don't always have to go for the goal. You don't always have to go for the glory ball. Know when to make some changes, because we're actually going to have, it looks as if we might have a better bench available. So I'm hearing that Ben Davies might be in contention to make the squad. Richarlison might be in contention to make the squad. So we will have some options off the bench. We'll have Mikey Moore off the bench. Don't be afraid to use him. Even Brennan Johnson, if he doesn't start, bring him on in a suitable time frame, right? Like, please just be competent. That's all. If you're competent, and those players play to their best of their ability, then if they lose, I can at least say, you know what, you've done everything in your power to get us the result, and we've just been bested by the superior team. But I very rarely have the opportunity to say that this season.
Yeah, I agree. And I think when you have lost, it's been obvious why you've lost, to be fair. Look, the Arsenal's lineup is going to be interesting because we've got injuries as well. We'll have David Raya in goal. Obviously, at right back, Timber looks like he might be out. Ben White's definitely still out. So is Tomiyasu. So
Timber's
unfortunately, yeah, he came off injured in the Man
out.
United game, and it looks like he could be out as well. I don't know that. It's not been confirmed. If Timber's fit, he'll play. If he's out, it will obviously, I hate this, but it'll be Thomas Partey at right back. Left back will be, I think, Calafiori, unless he's injured, because he was injured in the Man United game, which means it will be Lewis Skelly. And then centre backs will be Gabriel and Saliba. So really, our fullbacks are kind of question marks. Calafiori and Timber haven't really been fit enough. So it might be that it's Partey and Lewis Skelly. In midfield, that means I think it will be Rice, Marino, and Erdegaard. And then the front three, I think, will be Martinelli off the right, Trossard off the left, and Havertz through the middle, unless he plays Sterling, because Jesus, Waneri, and Saka are all out. So,
So Raya, Saliba, Gabriel, Partey at right back.
Yeah.
Left back is Tierney.
Probably Lewis Skelly or Tierney.
It's Lewis Skelly. Okay, it'll probably be Lewis Skelly. So we need to be mindful. He's good. He's a good player.
He is.
And then midfield.
Rice,
are you going to
Marino,
Rice
and
in the six?
I hope Rice in the six. If not, it'll be Jorginho.
I really hope you play Jorginho in the six. I really do.
I think it might be. He played there against United though, and he doesn't like to be. He likes to switch it up a bit. So I think he wants to play this. I think he wants to play Rice, Marino, and Erdegaard when Partey's at right back. So I think that's what he'll go with. And then the front three, I think he'll play Martinelli, Trossard, and Havertz, unless he plays Sterling, Martinelli, and Havertz and keeps Trossard on the bench as a sub. But I don't think he'll start Sterling.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, I just need Pedro Porro to just not be an idiot, man. Honestly, the guy's not played well for pretty much the entire season.
He's all right going forward, ain't he? It's just defensively.
But I like Pedro Porro. He's a good player, but he's been shit this season, man. He's been really shit this season. I've been saying it all season, man. He's been shit, bro. Like, I already know you're not good defensively, but like at the very least, you're meant to be good going forward. But I think even his offensive play this season has just been bad. Passing's been a bit off. Crossing's not been great. But that being said, I do think his last 3 Premier League performances, or even his prior to that Tamworth game, because he was terrible against Tamworth. I thought against Liverpool, he was really good. I thought against Newcastle, he was good. And I thought against Wolves, he was actually good as well. So let's hope that he doesn't let Martinelli make a mug out of him like he did in the home game, because Martinelli was having his way with Pedro Porro, and this is Martinelli who's out of form as well. So Let's
Well, he
see,
might play
man. Let's see.
Martinelli the other side. This is what I'm saying. He might play
If he
Martinelli on
plays
that right.
Martinelli the other side, Martinelli's getting padlocked by Jet Spence. I'll tell you that for free.
Yeah, he's been really good. I've always been a fan of him,
Padlocked.
by the way. I don't know why. I don't
So
know
have
why
I.
Antonio Conte didn't give him a go.
It's not even just a
Because
Conte
obviously it
thing,
was a
though, Potts. It's a Ange thing as well. I don't get it. Like the guy's comfortable with the ball at his feet. He's tall. He's fast. He's strong. He can carry the ball and he can defend. I've never really understood why he's not had a look in until now at Tottenham, but
I
nevertheless,
actually would go. I actually would go with Sterling in this game. I know that sounds mad because he hasn't been
he should
great.
start. If I was you, I'd
I think
start
he should.
Sterling on the left. He would
Yeah.
he'll move to Pedro Porro.
Yeah, there we go. Listen, before we close, let's get predictions. I'm going to go for a 1-1. I think it's going to be stinky. I don't think it's going to be enjoyable. I think both teams are just going to get something out of there and get the hell out of there, man. What you saying, bro?
I think we're going to lose this game. Unfortunately, I think we're going to. I'll take a point. I would be calm with a 2-2. I would love a win, but my head tells me we're going to lose this game of football. I think it's going to end 2-1 to Arsenal.
Okay. Well, listen, there you have it, people. North London derby will be this evening, and it will be an unbelievable game of football as ever, I am sure. I hope I'm wrong, and it's not a stinky game. I hope Tobes is right, and we do win. But make sure you're doing me a favor. Hit the like button. Hit subscribe. Make sure you're following 12, man. We've hit over 30K now, so we need now the road to the big 4-0. So let's make sure we can get there together. Make sure you're following our boy Tobes as well. Tap in Tobes on all platforms. You'll see him on the Big Six and over on his channel as well. And until then, we'll see you next time, people. We're out of here. Peace.